And here we are with Guancha 3.0, back at it our seventh tribal council of the season. So, Marvin, we're going to start with you. Marvin, walk me through the past few days. You're at a tribal council, CC's voted off. You learned instead of merging at 12, you're swapping again. And I just want to know what that moment felt like to you.
It felt nice to swap, but then I didn't like how there's no OG Kima here, to say the least. So,
actually, that's a pretty good point. Taisha, looking strictly at how the swap worked out, there's 3 members of OG Guancha here and 3 members of OG Rehoboth. Has that actually impacted the tribe dynamic at all?
Maybe a little bit, but I don't think too much because I think we see it as for what it is right now. We know that a merge is coming up and lines have to be drawn somewhere.
And Dylan, of course, looking at the other tribe, it's a 4-1-1 split of OG tribal lines. All 4 Kima that are still in the game are over there. And then we've got 1 OG Guancha and 1 OG Rehoboth. So while the tribal lines are not always indicative of how a vote's going to play out, is it at least reassuring to not be on that tribe, not be in the 4-1-1?
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm glad I'm not on that tribe. I'll tell you that. Because my ass would have been grass. I'll tell you that. Definitely happy to be here.
Keaton, let's talk to you. You've got a perplexing relationship with the wheel so far in this game, don't you?
Oh, sure fucking do, Ben. I fucking hate that wheel with a burning passion. If I see another wheel, I'm leaving before it fucking gets spun because I already know what's happening. It ain't landing on me.
Well, look behind door number 2 because it's a wheel.
Fuck you.
Well, are you glad that you've been swapped on this tribe, or is it more of a blessing than a curse for you? Because it's a 3-3 dynamic. You could be forcing rocks maybe because of how the tribal lines played out, or maybe it's more fluid than that.
I mean, I will say that I believe that tribal lines as a whole, like the swap, despite the fact that the wheel hates me, the outcome hasn't been the worst for me because I've been able to talk to more people as opposed to, say, Marvin and K-Pal, who got swapped with the entirety of OG Guancha except for myself before. So I've had a little more benefit in being able to expand my horizons in a social aspect. And I would bluntly say that I think it's more fluid than just tribal lines because we, at the end of the day, we're voting someone, but everyone here agrees that if we once we merge, there is a clear threat. There is a clear thing that needs to be dismantled. And no matter what happens, that is one thing we can all agree on. So even if it is me, no matter what happens, I know what's going to occur, whether I'm here or not.
And just to clarify, you're referring to the 4 members of Kima, correct?
The 4 members of Kima who have not had to go to a single tribal this entire game, thus been able to be very much kumbaya and not have to worry about a goddamn thing and just be happy that they've been able to coast now to final 11 without having the threat of being voted out, which none of us can say the same.
That's a good point. None of you can say the same. You've all been to tribal quite a few times now. Speaking of which, K-Pow, how goes the loss streak? Do you see it ending anytime soon? Because I don't want to beat the dead horse here, but you've been here for like 4 tribals in a row at this point.
Thanks. If you fixed your timer, we wouldn't have been. No, I don't know like what else to do, honestly. Like we try hard and we end up here. Like I don't know what to do. I'm tired of it. I want to stop going to tribal. Like just a week of safety would be nice at this point. But ultimately, I think like in some ways, I think we all have an advantage of like going to tribal, having to test the relationships, having to fight and make plans and be part of groups and votes, which is essentially, like how you test loyalty with other people here. Whereas I don't remember if it was Marvin or Keaton who said, like, the other tribe just gets to sit kumbaya, but they haven't had, to test any of those loyalties yet. So, they could all, crack under pressure, where we've, experienced the pressure. So we've had it.
Well, you are right. You guys all have experienced the pressure of tribal council. Shifting the subject a little bit, Connor, Elijah, let's talk about the challenge. What went wrong? And by that, I mean, what went wrong for both your pair specifically, and maybe just in general, if you want to elaborate on that.
I would say me and Dylan, at least my pair, we did our best. Like, if you would have seen some of the words, I don't know how the other tribe got them. Me and Dylan, like, we fought our ass off. Like, when you're giving me to act out the word fern, factory, elope, I don't know what you want me to do with that. Like, I don't know. And I'm glad I learned what the word elope means. I didn't know what it meant, but but yeah, I don't know. They obviously knew what to do with it, so I give credit where credit is due. But I didn't know what to do with that, and we did what we could do. And I don't think, we did the best we could. There was no way we were getting 16. They're over there. Let's be clear about something. As someone that was on the tribe with 3 of them, I watched them single-handedly beast out the comps for me and Taisha. They are incredibly good at competitions. They just steamroll. So I'm not surprised that they got 16. I'm just confused. What are they doing? Like, what do I need to learn how to do? Because they are just really good at comps. And I'm very scared of what that means for us.
Very fair point. Taisha, you're on a tribe with some of the OG Kimas as well. Do you share Connor's sentiments here? Do you think that they were just so good at comps? Maybe they're unbeatable. Maybe they're just really good, a leg above the rest. Or do you think they're beatable? Do you think you can come back and it's just a matter of give me the challenge and I can do well in it and we'll show them what's what?
I mean, obviously, I feel like we can beat them. We haven't thus far, but yeah, we can. Sure. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that sounded very reassuring. All right, so Keaton, what about your pair? Was it the communication that might have went wrong? Was it just being on a different wavelength? Was it they were just doing better than you because it was a challenge more suited to them? What happened?
See, I'm turning my head because I'm looking back towards the piece of paper that I used. And I should probably throw it out because it doesn't make me feel very good. Every time I lift up my blindfold and I see what I have attempted, I'm like, yeah, no shit, Chaisha didn't get it. We were never winning that as well. Not because of any fault of anyone, but it's really hard to draw blindfolded, I've learned. When you don't have sight, that's a very hard thing to be able to accomplish. Especially when you're trying to draw words like summer and quartz. Like, there's some words that I just don't fucking know. And don't get me started on the fucking cookie. There was an attempt at a cookie 4 goddamn times. It was just a mess. I don't think there's anything Taisha could have done to be able to do better at that. We tried our best, and that's all that we could ask for.
Cape, how I've heard some similar stories of it was a really hard challenge. There's some really hard words there. Cookie, factory, elope, but the other tribe, I don't want to demoralize you guys any more than you may already be, but they crushed you in some of those things. They got those words and
Fuck
they
you.
sometimes some of them doubled your scores. So it's obviously it was doable if they got it. So is it really just maybe a challenge gap? Maybe it's just that challenge, it was a gap. Or maybe it's you guys have other strengths here.
Well, thanks for throwing in the strength part. It makes us feel less demoralized. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's some skill of challenge that they have that is lacking here for us. I don't think that speed is my strength. I feel we on our Old Tribe, we did the maze, which was like more move based, and we, ended up being okay, or like being able to practice the puzzle, I feel like was fine. I think, for me, just the speed of doing it is not something I think that I particularly have excelled at, in the challenges so far. So maybe it's that, or maybe it's just, a challenge gap in general. They have more practice. I don't know. But I mean, one thing that we've been saying, around our camp is, at, merge time or something, 4 people can't win individual immunity. So we just kind of have to try to wait it out until we're at a point where we can do something about what's been happening.
Changing the subject just a tad, Marvin, we're going to shift away from the challenges just because I don't want to talk about it anymore, demoralize anyone any more than they already may be. So, Marvin,
Yeah,
is this? Would you say this is the point of the game where some of those relationships and conversations that may have partook at those attractions start coming in handy? You just swapped, it's a new tribe. It's like 3 days ago, you weren't even on the same tribe as some of these players. And now all of a sudden you have to vote one of them out.
So I would say not just even at this moment in time, but just throughout the whole game, even like from the last swap, I feel like those connections from the attractions should come into play. Because I can guarantee you all of us here have gone to different attractions as to where you have the people from OG Kima that are constantly going to the exact same attraction together. I'm like, this is hindering them if anything, because you're still going to the same attraction with the same people you started off with. And at the end of the day, when it comes to the merge, you're not going to have as many connections as everybody else does, because we were not only swapped, but then we were also talking to people at those different attractions. So if the way I've been saying it, and I'm sure everyone here has been saying it, is those attractions have come into play since the very first round, because you'd have to make those connections from the get-go. As to where there's some people who haven't even spoken to, like there's people who I haven't spoken to, like AJ, Rachel R. I don't think I've spoken to Mike. So I'm just like, they don't have connection there with me as to pretty much everybody else does that's still in the game.
Dylan, going off of that, are those connections possibly what might be, what you're basing your vote off tonight, who you're able to connect with at the other attractions, maybe who you were able to connect with when you did swap here, or maybe who you connected with on your first or second tries?
It's a good question. Like, I would say like a little bit, like, like I don't know how to phrase it. So I'll just say a little bit and just end it there.
All right. Connor, Elijah, have advantages come up at all this either on this tribe, a round ago, 2 rounds ago? Players have been able to go to different attractions, like Marvin said, and surely someone may have found something by now, right?
I mean, I can only assume something has been found. The tricky part to knowing about this thing is how many things are hidden. If like there's more than one, I don't really understand it, to be honest. I've just been guessing willy-nilly, willy-nilly Nelson. But I have been just kind of guessing here and there, and I honestly, like, I'm getting tired of that stupid bot telling me I'm incorrect. I'm getting real tired of him, her, it, them, whatever the bot. I'm getting real tired of that bot talking to me like the way they're talking to me. That's my biggest rivalry, is the bot. I'm getting real sick of them.
I have a really strong pro tip for you to have the bot not say you're incorrect, and it's to find an advantage. I know, 3,000 IQ. Taisha, on the other side of the coin, there are about 4,000 possible combinations at the start of this game. And over the rounds, over the clues, it's been narrowed down to less than 750, a lot less if you've been keeping track of every clue. It's still quite a bit of combinations that you might have to sort through. But is it a possibility that nobody just has anything because there's that many combinations still left?
I'm very positive that people have some. I'm very positive the people that keep staying in the same attractions and not going to tribal. Yeah, can't wait for marriage. Anyway, yeah.
All right. So, Keaton, let's come back to you. You haven't been to a tribal council since Daryl was voted out of the game, 10-0. Is the atmosphere different in this vote than it may have been previously?
Yeah, because we actually have to think. Like, just to say it bluntly, like last time, we're all just like, yeah, mans don't exist. See you next year. Like, everyone's here. Unlike that tribal, we're all here to play the game. Everyone here is playing the game, and it's now a strategic decision on what you do based on the social bonds that you've made in this social strategic game. My decision has been made up. I know what I'm doing, and I believe that it's going to be the correct vote tonight. And if it's not, then I've been played, and I can respect that. But because at the end of the day, everyone here is playing the game, and I know that if it is me, they're playing the game, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. Like, we're all here, and that's what matters.
You are all here. That is correct. So, Marvin, how different does this vote feel compared to potentially your previous two tribal councils? Because in that respect, they were all there too. Andrew was there, Cece was there, and they were voted off. Is it different? Is it the same?
I feel like it is different because with Andrew was doing too much. I don't know what the hell he was doing. He was making shit up that he didn't have any reason to be making up. And then Cece over here, I mean, Cece.
Over there?
Yeah, somewhere over there. She gone.
Okay.
Don't matter. But no, like with those two votes, I feel like those votes were just as clear for us when we went to tribal as the Daryl vote, because there may have been some scrambling around during those two votes, but at the end of the day, we knew what we were doing going in, except the person that was voted out. As to this vote, I'm just like, it literally can be anyone. It can be me as well, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah.
All right. And so, K-Pow, what would you say the goal of this vote is? Are you trying to unify this tribe? Are you trying to not end up back here in a few days? Are you just trying to play an individual game? Maybe say, I'm self-oriented now. Let me just vote out who I don't vibe with.
I think it's a combination of what I know was mentioned like a couple of times of what we feel like the path is going to be, you know, in the future of this game. So I think the vote tonight is what we think will help us, you know, achieve that goal. I think it's what we think would be best for us next round if we don't merge. And kind of a whole mix of things. I think everybody has their own reasons why they are going to vote, how they're going to vote, and what they think is going to happen. So that's kind of where my vote is, my reasoning is, you know, what will keep us the strongest and be the best for kind of a group of us going forward.
I see. Dylan, the game only gets tougher from this point forward. How are you supposed to set yourself up so you're not under fire from everyone else, so you're not in other people's, you know, line of fire of maybe I vote this person out, maybe it's better for my game?
It's a tough decision. It's tough, you know, like I'm horrible at these questions. Please.
Well, I'll cut you some slack. You said it's tough a little bit. You know, those are some pretty strong answers right there.
Yeah.
So Connor, Elijah, players talk, it's the nature of the game. How do you know that the conversations you're actually having are private? What if someone's just leaking everything left and right that you tell them? Do you still trust them? How do you know they trust you?
I honestly, like, it's tough to know. You have to just hope that you're putting your trust and follow your gut. In these games, I follow my gut because I feel like my gut is a good mix of my head and my heart. So if I'm like talking to someone and I'm sharing information with them, it's because I trust them and I hope that that is received. And I hope that that is, taken and returned. And that's really all you can do. I can't control how others are going to play the game. That's one thing I can't control. We're all going to play the game how we choose to play the game. So it's out of my control what someone's going to do with information. All I can do is hope I'm, putting information in the right place. And it's just a lot of hope and follow your gut.
And Taisha, what happens next? Do you try to win the challenge? I imagine so. It's easier said than done, but what do you think needs to be worked on for this tribe to come out victorious, not end up on a date with me in 2 or 3 days?
I feel like a lot more communication comes down into play, making sure you know where people's strengths are and what their weaknesses are, like honestly. Because if you truly want to win, and if the goal is to ultimately beat out the people that are perceived threats.
Thank you all for being patient with technology.
I have the votes. If anybody has an advantage or a hidden immunity idol and you would like to play it, now it's time to do so. All right. Once the votes are read, the decision is final. The person voted out will be asked to leave the Zoom call immediately. I'll read the votes. First vote, K-Pow. Second vote, Dylan. That's 1 vote, K-Pow, 1 vote, Dylan. Third vote, Connor Elijah. That's 1 vote, Dylan, 1 vote, K-Pow, 1 vote, Connor Elijah. 3 votes left. Fourth vote, Dylan. That's 2 votes, Dylan, 1 vote, K-Pow, 1 vote, Connor Elijah. Fifth vote. And the 7th player voted off Duplicity, Boardwalk Betrayal, Dylan. Dylan, that's 3. Tonight, that's enough. You have anything you'd like to say? Floor is yours.
Wow. Taisha, did you know that that was gonna happen? What the fuck? What? Fuck you. I'm not even mad at the other ones, but Taisha, what the? Did you vote me? But you knew. Fuck you. Don't talk to me. Peace.
On the tribe is spoken. For the rest of you, you've survived. You've made the final 11. For 4 of you, you were not yelled at, I guess. So props. Everyone else, you can head back to camp. You're all safe for the night.